Procrastination is self-harm. It's the primary struggle for creators today. And it's not just about laziness or a lack of motivation. It's about your emotions. Just like by merely observing the surface of water, we cannot see the depth beneath. Similarly, what we can see in a person who's procrastinating from the outside, it may appear as a lack of motivation, laziness, or a fear of uncertainty. And although these observations are valid, these behaviors are in fact only symptoms, while the root of procrastination lies hidden away beneath the surface. And that is your emotions. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is an emotional regulation problem. And today's video is an attempt to discover together what exactly happens when we procrastinate and what kind of behaviors keep us in this state. We are also going to look at the major role that emotions play in procrastination and why regulating our emotions is the key to bringing back the energy we need to create. And finally, I'm also going to share an actionable step that one can take and use as an antidote to procrastination, so we are able to transform that dense and heavy feeling that is procrastination to a more light and resistance-free path, opening up once again the potential to create. It all started when I started pondering this question lately. How is it that it can be so difficult to do what we know is good for us and so easy to do what is not? In spite of knowing that the pending tasks ahead, when completed, is going to be undoubtedly more productive for us and rewarding, we understand it intellectually and we can see it in our vision for the future. We can clearly imagine the benefits of completing these tasks and actions that are directed towards our goals, having the potential to create new possibilities and adventures in our own life. And in spite, we struggle to take the first step. Procrastination is derived from the Latin word procrastinare, which means to put off until tomorrow. However, we know that it involves more than just voluntary delay, because procrastination also comes from the Greek word akrasia, which means doing something against our better judgment. It's a form of self-harm. So in the context of this video, when I use the word emotion, I mean the negative feelings that we accumulate towards the task that we are avoiding or procrastinating. The root of these negative feelings can be varied. It could be a fear of judgment, a fear of failure, a fear of the unknown, uncertainty about the outcome, among other emotional related blockers. And the thing that connects negative emotions to procrastination is the very same thing that makes procrastination especially challenging. And that is that any alternative action that we might take, no matter how productive we may think it is, may also be forms of further procrastination. And this is where the complexity increases and opens doors for the accumulation of negative feelings. And to add to this, we also develop habits that we use to avoid the task that we're doing. Some common habits that aren't so obvious that are alternative actions to procrastination could be cleaning the house, or doing household chores, reading more, taking more online courses, or even just to talk about tasks we want to do rather than actually doing it. And while there are other more deeply ingrained habits and subtle habits that also perpetuate procrastination, like binging on YouTube, doom scrolling on social media, gaming, shopping online, these reasons may vary from individual to individual. But inevitably, there comes a moment where during this process, there is a sudden realization that time and energy has passed. And this inadvertently results in negative emotions, the most common being the feelings of guilt and shame. And the more this cycle repeats, the more ingrained these habits become, and the more we resort to these actions that provide us instant gratification instead of doing the work that we are procrastinating. So going from procrastination to creation involves an insight. self-compassion. Something so simple yet overlooked. I realized that it's been the very thing that I have been doing in my own life whenever it seemed that I have overcome procrastination. And I truly believe that it's been one of the main reasons why I've been able to manage my current challenging role as a design leader and an art director in a very fast-moving company. Psychiatrist and neuroscientist Dr. Judson Brewer, Director of Research and Innovation at Brown University's Mindfulness Center, discussed the concept of the bigger, better offer, or BBO. It's the idea that we have to offer ourselves something even better than the thing that gives us instant gratification in the place of the task that we are procrastinating. Something that involves simply to take a pause in the moment you first feel that overwhelm and negative emotion related to procrastination, and then to take a deep breath and accept that procrastination has happened. We are internally fighting with these accumulating negative emotions by keeping ourselves distracted, but by acknowledging it, we allow some space for peace. And this relief is such a high reward that it frees us from all this compounding negative emotions that we've been harboring within. Now, it is important to note that this insight is based on my personal experience. I truly believe in individual variability. Humans are complex, and due to varying personalities and personal experiences, sometimes a tailored approach or professional guidance may be more effective. However, the insight that I'm sharing is for the general public. Here's another simple analogy about self-compassion that helped me understand this better. Imagine that you're taking a walk in the forest and you've suddenly realized that you've lost your way. You aren't heading where you initially intended to go. What is the first thing you would do? Would you keep walking knowing that you're going in the wrong direction? Or would you immediately pause and realize that you're lost and then calmly assess the situation? By doing this, you're making space for peace that helps in rational thinking, and you're conserving your time and energy that you can now redirect to the task at hand. And this is also why Dr. Judson Brewer continues in his paper and says that the solution must therefore be internal and not dependent on anything but ourselves. So now the actionable step. In my 10 years of experience in the creative industry, being an illustrator, animator, and designer, I've found one thing to be so effective when I'm creatively blocked or procrastinating or feeling just dense and heavy and not getting work done. And that action is to find inspiration. Oftentimes, we are only consuming things that aren't related to what we want to do or the project that we are working on. Exposing ourselves to inspiration is also exposing ourselves to creativity, to positivity, external ideas, and then our energy is bound to shift and get affected by others who are vibrating in a different energy, so to speak. Now, this process of inspiration is also a process of play, because the objective of this is to excite us. Because once we are excited and we feel involved and we feel like we are a part of something, we feel like the creative juices are flowing, and once we are interested and fully engaged in what we are doing, then creative action happens by itself.